I'll introduce myself really quickly and very briefly, and then I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can let the fantastic folks who are here know a little bit more about you. We're going to discuss a little bit about your diagnosis and what navigating that was like, and how that kind of informed your life as, now we're going to say it, as a professional advocate. But I'll say from one professional advocate to the other, my name is Megan. I'm working with Patient Voice. You may have seen me on their TikToks a few times, embarrassing myself sometimes. But I've worked with Patient Voice for some time. Their mission is very close to my heart on a very deep and personal level. I live with several chronic conditions, including a rare disorder with bipolar and endometriosis. So lots of storytelling to be had there, and lots of discussions to be had about different categories of health and what that's like to navigate the world as a person with compromised health. So it's really important to me personally to be having these conversations and for the organization. And we're so happy that you're here, and you're brand new, and you can tell us a little bit about this as well. A brand new ambassador for Patient Voice. So we're both doing some work with Patient Voice, and it's exciting. But I'll just hand it over to you to tell us a little bit about your story and who you are and how you got here today.
So that was a very nice introduction of yourself. So nice. My name is Mara Lauren Hutchinson, and my handle is Atimara. So I have a rare eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa, and it's a rare disease as well. And it pretty much to describe the eye condition is that I don't have peripherals, I have night blindness, and the way my vision is at the current moment now is that it's like looking through a very, very thin straw. And I like to describe it as more so like the kids' juice box straws, the white ones. Mm-hmm. But that's pretty much like on my right eye only, because my left eye doesn't see much in the center vision anymore. So I could tell it's like bright and light, like just a little bit of outlines, but not the full vision that I would want, like in my right eye. So my right eye only has about 5% left. And it's a genetic disease as well. So I was born with it. I could pass it down to my son, who knows if that's even, what the future will be. And after being diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa about 13 years ago, shortly after, I was also diagnosed with Usher syndrome. And that is also related to my the vision loss. So I'm losing my hearing as well. And yeah, it's been about 13 years now. And I feel like what a time it's been, because I'm here standing here and having this meeting with you and joining everybody. And I wouldn't even think to believe that I'm somebody that would be with you guys, with people that I've also worked with, and telling myself that I'm an advocate, I'm a TV reporter, I'm a mom. And I feel like I'm so much more. And just to say that I am doing this at my age is awesome.
It is awesome. It is. I want to dive into some of the awesomeness that you have accomplished and the things that you get up to. I think a really great transition might be to talk about something that we like to call my normal, and what your normal is when you have compromised health. And because this is a diagnosis that happened 13 years ago, I'm sure there was a transition for you to get to where you are today, with acceptance of the condition, navigating it, what your daily life is like. And I'm wondering, that can be extraordinarily difficult. So I'm wondering if you can share what that was like from you, from diagnosis to being this bright and bubbly advocate that we see today.
You know what? I like to start off by saying that when I was officially diagnosed, well, let's say just going through the transition of like seeing specialist after specialist. Mm-hmm. I remember like it was around December of 2010, and my first ever retina specialist, not even knowing what my eye condition was at that moment, I think my first ever doctor destroyed my well-being in general. When I say well-being, I was mentally not well after he told me the devastating news of showing me the pictures of what my eyes look like from the test and going straight at it saying, you are going blind and there's nothing you can do. Because hearing those words and you don't even know yet what this is exactly is so devastating that automatically I think end of the world type of situation.
Yeah.
So we all know that it takes a long time to get another second opinion and seeing doctors. So for months and months, and it led to pretty much 2 years of being in a dark space, even from the time of like really knowing, okay, you have retinitis pigmentosa. Yes, there isn't a cure for it. It just sounded like I was like, that's the end of my future. Like that's the end of my life because I was hit by that first ever doctor telling me you're going blind and there's nothing you can do. And I feel like the way they delivered the news, it wasn't obviously the greatest. So automatically we're all thinking all sorts of things in our minds, right? So I was very depressed, very suicidal the first 2 years. And then, you know, after many attempts and so on, and your husband now tells you where, because at that time I was newly engaged. So at that time, for him to tell me like I am the only one that's going to be missing out on life. And yes, there's no treatment right now. There's nothing we can really do. But why should it stop you from creating the life that we deserve and still planned? Because we plan to get married, we plan to build a future together and even have a family. So fast forward to when he told me all of these things, I kind of just snapped a little bit out of my dark funk and kind of told myself, yeah, like there has to be a reason where the amount of times I tried to give up on my own life, I am still here. So what do I do about it? So here I am today, and who would have thought I would I would be a mom and have my own family and living a simple life, but a happy one. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And that really touched me what you just said. The amount of times that I tried to give up on my own life and it didn't happen. There must be a reason that I'm here. That
There's
got me.
always a reason, right? I feel like there's always a reason no matter what, the little things or the big things, like even the simple joys in our lives. We're like, why did that happen to us? There
Yeah.
has to be a reason. I can't always say the bad stuff. I think about the good things that comes in my way, and I'm like, there has to be a reason why all these blessings and all the incredible people I get to meet along the way comes in my life.
So would that be your new normal? This is, your life, your average life. It's your life, your normal, what you're experiencing.
It
Just
it really is. I
different.
mean, we're all going through so many things, and my situation is obviously different from yours and from everybody else. But I feel like we could all relate to a lot of things, and we're building that normal life that we want for
Yeah.
ourselves. And this to me is normal, where I'm usually home by myself with my son, 13 hours, my husband's out and he's at work. And the majority of the time, I'm balancing many things, like everything at the house, my own work, taking care of our family, and trying to find some simple joy out of that day for myself. And that is my life. Like that is my normal. And there's a little bumps here and there along the way, but that's just
I,
normal. It's natural.
I think your normal also includes sharing a lot of your life online, actually. That's part of it too. Why don't we chat a little bit more about that, about all of these things that, make up your daily life that have become a part of advocacy? Could
Yeah.
we say that by sharing them online, by sharing your story, your lived experience becomes advocacy?
Well, I always say everyone is an advocate. I told you
Yes.
this and I said, if you're not sharing your story, I mean, first of all, like there's always amazing things when you hear people's stories, and you never honestly realize how many people are going to be listening to you or resonate with what you're going through. And I feel like whoever is using their voice, and whether it's not about the following, let's say, you're already advocating for your joy, for your life, even if it's like the bad stuff. Like today I had a bad day, let's say. That's advocating already. You don't have to be someone so big on social media, an influencer, let's say, because to me, we're all advocating for something. We're all advocating for the things that we, everything about our lives, let's say. Like I see people doing amazing things, and that to me is you're advocating for your joy, let's say, your dreams. And people have their own businesses. That's, to me, is advocating. And I use my platform to just show everything about me. I keep things a little private, obviously, but I usually just share what I really can share. And I mean, you never know who's going to be listening to you. And even if it's just one person listening to me and want to hear like, oh, what is Mara up to? Then I am winning. Because
Yeah.
I'm all about who doesn't, it's not about the engagement or how many people have seen things. It's about that one person that reached out to me or that listened or actually read my captions, let's say. And we can laugh about it, or we can talk about it. Let's say if I'm having a bad day, or you're having a bad day too, or today you ate ice cream, I had ice cream too, let's say. Like it that's the power of social media. I always say, let's use it in that positive way where I want to see the real people. I want to see what people are up to, especially when I don't even see people that often because everyone's so busy. I love seeing that. I love seeing what everyone is up to these days, and the good and the bad.
So community is a huge part of well-being for sure, and it's something that, like, why we're here today, why Patient Voice
Yeah.
exists, why we're all connecting, because ultimately it's such a huge piece of your wellness journey and being well. And so I'm wondering about the type of community, yeah, you try and cultivate online, and what that kind of means to you. What do you get out of creating this content, and how does that bring you comfort, and how does that nurture your own sense of community?
Well, I started the whole platform for just talking about my disabilities. It was strictly just that, and whatever I was feeling regarding my disability. And then that whole situation, like meeting new people, the community started to come together. And but I kind of told myself where I just don't want to like connect with just my vision loss or my hearing loss. And I always have to tell myself where I don't want to always be referred to as that legally blind woman or that legally blind mom, because I feel like we're all more than our disabilities and our struggles. So eventually, as I built my community and I started to really connect with so many people from all over the world and really truly built genuine friendships, where I kind of had to remind myself and them where, wait a minute, but I want to get to know you more, because I believe that I am also more than my disabilities. And that's same thing with everybody else, because like we love many things. And for me personally, where I don't want to be looked at as just that legally blind woman, because I mean, I we can relate to many things, such as like I like to work out, I love to eat, I'm a foodie. Like I have a family as well. We can talk about like there are times when, let's say, moms are getting frustrated and it's a bad day, let's say, and or just in general of who we are outside of like my struggles and my disabilities. So when I ended up building my community, there's so many people. There's people in the disabled community, people like Patient Voice, where I am part of you guys, part of Patient Voice, where I didn't realize there was so many other people with rare diseases. Or I'm connecting with moms all over the world, or just being, a girlfriend, let's say, or somebody that's interested in dancing, let's say, or food, like I said, just so many things, because I'm more than my disabilities. And we have to, I try to personally show everybody on my platform where I could do so much more and I'm capable of many things.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate that. it makes a lot of sense that you would kind of have a foot in a lot of different, spaces or a lot of like this, and it would be diminishing it to some degree to say this is everything. Everything has to do with your
Yeah.
health. Everything.
Like there's nothing wrong with, because like I am a strong believer and I advocate a lot about RP, Usher syndrome, or just
Yeah.
being a legally blind woman, how hard it is
Yeah.
just navigate life in general.
Mm.
But I mean, we're all so special. Like I want to get to, when I get to know people, well, tell me
Mm.
more about yourself. Like, what do you like?
I
You know?
love that. That makes so much sense that social media is a conversation. Like, if you can't necessarily see the people at the other end of the phone or the camera, but it is a conversation. And so it wouldn't end at what health ailments do you have, or what yeah, you're right. There's just so much more. It's this back and forth. It's so much deeper than that.
It is so much deeper, and that's why I like to show all sides of me, because
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I am capable of becoming so much more. I'm able to do a lot of things, and that's what makes me so special, because who would have
Yeah.
thought that I would be here doing what I'm doing? Even just simple, my husband, my son and I rushed to the bus stop and we made it on the bus. That to me is a win, and I'm sharing that because those are the simple joys that people don't realize, where that to me matters, because I can't see much.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to take him to swimming today, and I'm telling you, I'm so proud. After this, I'm gonna probably have another coffee and just sit back and relax and play some music.
I love
Because,
that.
yeah, and I feel like all of us can do so many incredible things despite, our illnesses and everything that we're dealing with.
And we touched on this a bit before, but of course, you share your journey on social media when it does come to health still.
Yes.
And what made you want to do that? Can I ask? What prompted that? Was it this, urge to share your story or to connect yourself?
Because when I was diagnosed 13, almost 14 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, actually, oh my gosh, time goes by so fast. Social media was not a big thing at that time. And I didn't know where to lean and like what kind of groups I could be part of. Like CNIB was there, but it's so hard to relate to people my age at that time, or just in general. Like it's just so hard, and I felt so alone. And then when people started to reach out to me years ago, and as Instagram became bigger and bigger, so many people were reaching us saying, oh my gosh, like I have the same white cane as you. What eye condition do you have? And I just felt like it clicked to me at that time where, oh my gosh, like there's so many people like me, first of all. And the fact that they're asking me, like, how do you go about life? Like, how do you end up smiling still? And after, we're dealing with all of this, but you're able to still like smile and look good, or whatever you want, whatever they were asking me. So it kind of clicked to me where, how about I use this platform to be there for them? Because I never want anyone to ever feel what I felt years ago, where I had no one to talk to. I Facebook or Instagram it wasn't big like how it is now, where you could find so many communities to be part of.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had that. And that's why I continue to, if somebody was to reach out to me when it comes to vision loss, I'm always there messaging back right away as much as I can, because I never want anyone to ever feel what I felt. And that's the whole point of you starting the platform. I started a platform in my community, and I stand by that, by always being there as a friend. And because, man, it was so tough being alone at my time. Like I didn't have anyone to talk to really. And when it was time for me to really be in a better mental state, that's when I started to share more. And if I was to go back years ago and had somebody like that, like talk to me, it would have been great. But I never had that. So that's why we're using the platforms that we have. And continue to really be there for one another.
Mm. And you're doing such a fantastic job at it. Like following along your story is very compelling. Like you're, I'm sure it took a while to get here, but like it seems very natural.
It took a
Like,
long
yeah,
time, but like I always say, it's not about the, the actual growth of your
yeah,
platform. I am the person where I do not care for, you know, the following, the whoever liked it or whoever's thinking, because I know there's always one person that's gonna be reading my stuff and be like, I feel you, Mara. Like, thank you for saying this because today sucks and I feel you. Like you feel me and I could totally relate and thank you for sharing this part of whatever I was sharing at that moment, you know? And if I'm able to help somebody smile that day and help somebody continue to live their life, then that is a win. And that's the most important thing, right? Like I never want anyone to ever feel like they want to give up because I felt that. And
yeah.
I mean, everyone's doing their own thing. And like I told you, Megan, I stand for what I say, where my community and my platform is for this. The extra stuff that I'm showing is just the extra things in me. And because I want people to understand you can still live a life, you can still do so many incredible things, right? And as long as I'm able to touch somebody, then that is a win for me. And these extra things that people are probably seeing, it is just the bonus, the sprinkles on top of the 13 years of me sharing my story.
Thank you so much. I mean, I love this conversation, this portion, the idea that you can use these communities for just lived
Of
advocacy, like telling your story
course.
is this form of advocacy, and that you can utilize these platforms to share it because it can be, it's very lonely. It's very isolating to have compromised health. Very, very lonely.
It's such a lonely, I mean, if you're doing it for the right reasons with our platforms, then it won't be
Yeah.
lonely. And it's, we have to always look at the positive things where I like to see people's joys. I like to, yes, I hear you. I feel for you. I feel for everybody when we all share the bad things too. But when I say advocating in general is the good and the bad, right? I want to see you dancing, let's say, or having that pizza and you're enjoying yourself. Like that is all the joys and all the bad things. That is all part of us advocating for what we believe, for what we deserve, and just us being who we are and the special us.
So do you find that you interact with platforms the same way? Like you look for other advocates, you like to watch people's kind
Oh
of
yeah.
life like that?
Oh yes. It's crazy because now that Instagram, because I'm only on Instagram, it's gone so big that I actually follow people that are just not in the visually impaired, all sorts of disabilities. I've met people along the way where, you know, chronic illnesses, people in their wheelchairs, or just so many incredible people that all have disabilities and even just whatever they're dealing with. It's just so nice to really connect that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I tell you about being part of certain communities, like I am part of like the breast cancer community because I lost my mom through breast cancer. So I know so many incredible women in that end
Yeah.
who are fighting for their life that way, or just sharing their joys and their bad things on that end. And or even the grieving part. I know people that have lost loved ones, so I feel like I'm able to connect in so many ways with different people on, like, you know, on social media. And I would probably say I'm part of so many communities that it is like mind blown to me. And some of these people I've never even met in real life, but I feel like we've already built such a great connection because we're easily can just pick up our phone and be like, hey, are you free? Can I message you and can we talk for a little bit? So
That's
I'm
incredible.
always about using the platform in that way, in the positive way, and what's gonna uplift me or what's gonna make me feel seen today, or kind of make me realize, are my feelings valid? Because sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm feeling this way today, but is it just all in my head? I want to talk to somebody. And it's easy to just kind of connect with so many people, right?
Yeah, that's so interesting. We're gonna go a few minutes over. I hope it's okay, just because we started a few minutes late.
Not just that
Uh,
I talk a lot.
Me too. So we're in good company. Oh gosh, what was I going to say? That this validation is so important. I mean, I've definitely experienced that myself, where you diminish your own feelings regarding your health. And I mean, the onus isn't entirely on you. There's a system at play here, that makes it difficult to navigate the world as a person with compromised health. But you definitely, I relate to that a lot, that you diminish your own feelings about what it's like.
It's so this entire topic can go on and on and on. And sometimes, but I'll do say this when we talk about connecting with people and just kind of making sure where I know I already know I don't need anyone's opinion, or when I say my feelings are valid, but sometimes like I actually do have to, there are times when I like do check in on people and be like, this is what I feel, or, you know, just kind of lean on somebody, and just to hear somebody say, no, you are allowed to feel that way, or whatever happened to you, or, it's not right type of thing. So it's nice that way, because every day there are times when I'm just always like, it's we get these type of feels where, am I like okay, or am I allowed to feel this way, or am I just being extra or dramatic? But then, like, because I'm always dramatic and extra sometimes, so sometimes I'm like, but I'm like, no, I this is what I feel, and it's not right, and I
Yeah,
shouldn't feel this way.
yeah. And it's nice to connect with other people that understand. It's kind of a total trip being sick.
Yeah.
It's a bit of it's a lot psychologically to navigate.
Because, like, I don't know if my husband's watching, but yesterday, like, I went to my nephew's birthday party.
Hmm.
Like, I love my husband to death. He is like my number one supporter. But sometimes he also doesn't get it. Because I'm like, dude, I can't see. And then because he forgets sometimes. And then when he said, he's over, because I was looking for Bronx to my son. He's like, he's over there. And then I was like, why'd you like kind of attack me with how you said it? Because I'm like, I can't see. I didn't see him. But I have to also be mindful where people that I don't know exactly what I'm feeling or going through don't know sometimes they forget, or sometimes they don't really understand what you mean by you can't see, right? So that's why I always have to explain or communicate better with like my loved ones, where this is what I'm experiencing now. I feel like if it's maybe my vision is, getting worse, who knows? So that's also another thing where I have to always work on, where I like to communicate my feelings. I like to share even on my social media, where this is now what's happening. And not many will ever understand, but I know there's people that, that can obviously relate to what I'm feeling. Because like, as much as like our loved ones are here, sometimes they just don't get it. And that's why we have the community that we have, where, well, I'm going to go talk to somebody else then, who I can share my experience and be like, am I being dramatic about this? But no, right?
No,
So that's what I felt yesterday, because my Baz was just like, he's over there, and I was like, what do you mean he's over there? Like, I can't see.
And then I'm sure eventually you're like, this is comical.
Yeah, like that's the type of day sometimes where people would be like, Mara, he's over there. Or, what I really don't like, when I'm walking with a group of friends, or my husband even, and since I'm holding on to my white cane, I try to not to like lean on people anymore. So I walk on my own. But you're walking, and you're talking, and sometimes they stop because they look at something else, and you're just walking ahead and you're still talking. And people are like, this girl is probably talking to herself because I'm walking on my own, not realizing I left the people behind already. And because I couldn't see, I don't have
Yeah.
peripherals, right? And
Yeah.
I'm just like, my gosh, like this always happens to me. I'm talking by myself and not realizing no one's next to me anymore.
Thank you for sharing that. Honestly, like that, those types of uh, insights are things that everyone here who's listening and myself, A, will help us with other folks, and B, it would
Yeah.
never occur to us to think about that as a struggle that you would
It's
go through.
so many, well, when you go back to it, it's funny things, but at that moment, it's like, oh my gosh. But people obviously who are visually impaired will always feel me on this, and now we just all laugh about it, like my community, that way, where we can laugh about this because it's like it's not just me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not just me. It happens all the time, and we just gotta laugh. Sometimes we need those things in our lives. Just laugh at yourself.
Well, you can see somebody in the comments right now says that happens to me too. So what you're saying is very relatable.
Yeah, oh my goodness, it's tough, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. I want to thank you so, so much for chatting with
Thank
me
you for
today.
having me.
Really,
Do
really
this more
awesome.
often, or even in real life.
Yeah,
Have a bite to eat and
yeah.
just chat.
I'd like that. I'd like that very much. I'm so happy we got this opportunity, and I think like you're in a very unique position to share your advocacy journey. And I mean, I admire it personally, and I love following your story along and your life and your food and your outfits.
I know people are always, I guess they love the outfits, but I love it too. I mean,
You're stylish.
that's what it is. You feel good, you look good, life
Life is
will always
good.
follow.
There
Life
we
is
go.
good.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so, so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank
much
you,
for
everybody,
having
for coming
me.
today.
Have a
Thank
great,
you.
great day, guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye.